Welcome. This is we did not talk about what intro I was doing, and I sure didn't think about it. So it's our third week. Welcome to Dear Friends in Dead Ends with me, Cody, and your other host, Ashley. This is the first time we're recording this in video, and
Why do you sound like James Lipton?
welcome to Inside the Actors Studio. Yeah, so we're trying out something different this week. We're gonna upload it to YouTube if you want to see our faces,
If you
and
want, yeah.
then you'll still get the audio version everywhere else, such as Podbean and Spotify, but also iTunes.
That's Apple Podcasts, Google
That's
Podcasts. We are on iHeartRadio now, which is awesome. We've been on Amazon Music and podcasts apparently, and you really can't see that, but it said Coors Light. And that's basically where you can find us. We're also going to try and eliminate the ums as much as possible because that's really irritating to edit and because we don't want to make anyone suffer. Right, buddy?
right.
Convincing.
Right.
So, moving forward, I have a few announcements. I got it. Thank you. Thank you. So, the announcements I have to make as of right now, we are at 110 downloads/views. Yes, yes. Good job, us. We are still under 2 weeks. That's in our first 2 weeks. We are already at 110. I am extremely proud of us. I don't even care if it's the same 5 people that we know that are doing it. Thank you guys for your support. We really do appreciate it. And to shout out the locations, we actually have the US, of course, with Maryland, Texas, Colorado, Virginia, Kansas, Tennessee, North Carolina, New York, DC, New Jersey, and possibly Alaska. We're not quite sure. For outside the US, we have Japan, which is the second highest. Apparently, they really love us over there, which is nice. We have the UK, Canada, and the Philippines. So it's really awesome to have the support. We really do appreciate it. That said, please tell your friends that, what are you doing?
I'm having issues seeing myself. It'll be fine.
That's a lifelong issue because we both have bad vision. So, God, it's very distracting. So,
Yep.
so the next announcements that we have, we are going to be doing incentives for Patreon. So, for instance, I'm changing the tiers. We're going to have $3, $5, and $10 tiers. The $3 is going to be our podcasts. That's where you get early access to episodes and just kind of like a general support for the channel and for the just podcast in general. The $5 tier, which is Bald is Beautiful, as you can see. And that is going to be where you get additional episodes that are only going to be on Patreon. It's only if you're in that tier and above. It's going to be Theory Thursdays, where we do conspiracy theory videos. And we don't know what topic we're doing until I pull it out of this bag. I'm calling it the tinfoil bag. Basically, there's just a lot of theories in there, and we're going to pick one blindly and just kind of see what happens. Lastly, we have the $10 tier. That one is Dearest Friend. And for that one, it is going to be where we're going to be doing live Discord episodes for people that are in the $10 tier. And basically, we'll be going over a case live for only people that are allowed to be on that channel. You have to be invite only. And once again, that's for a $10 tier. So that was a lot of information. But the last incentive we have is once we get to $100 a month in patron downloads, we are going to dress as each other for an entire video.
Ashley is going to actually shave her head.
No.
And she's going to glue it onto her face with Gorilla Glue because that's topical right now. Don't actually shave your head.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. If not for that one comment, I totally would have.
Save you.
So Yes, I'm actually gonna wear like a bald cap. I'm gonna have some type of facial hair, some type of like attachable beard. I'm not really sure. I don't know what you're gonna do about this, but he's gonna wear a wig and he's gonna wear dark lipstick. I will wear a horror t-shirt. I don't know what you're gonna do.
I'm gonna
Wait,
wear the dresses that I normally only wear on the weekend, and I'm going to paint my beard flesh colored.
please do that. That would be amazing. Please do it. Or just like lots of foundation. But either way, once we reach $100 a month in patron donations each month, that is when we're going to do the video. This is a long-term goal. We're not expecting this to be like this month and next month, anything like that, but it's something to look forward to for those of you who don't already want to bleach your eyeballs as is. So there's that. And I can go over the last thing a little bit later because I'm sure everyone is like, just get to the fucking point already. But basically, I just want you guys to send us serial killer puns. Yeah, that's the last thing. I'll get a little bit more into it later, but basically, please send us your puns on Instagram. It's Dear Friends Dead Ends Pod, and all the links are on the page anyway, and link in the bio. That's all I have.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Now we go to Carl with weather. No, aren't you doing your story first?
Mm-hmm. We did discuss this for like 2 seconds before. Sorry.
Yeah.
A friend of a friend made me some margaritas, so I am getting pretty drunk. So we're gonna have to do mine first. All right. So the case I wanted to do originally did not pan out. There was not enough information, so I'm doing a backup case, and it's one that's actually really interesting. It's one that's just there's so many weird details to it, and it doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense. And I couldn't find more than one YouTube video on it, at least in English. She is from Israel, so
Oh, okay.
maybe it's just not enough information has been translated into English. I was not able to fully get into all the Hebrew and everything to try and translate that. But
Wait, you didn't want to learn another language to investigate further?
You're right. I am really horrible at this. Not quite job.
Slacker.
Do you want me to bring up Spanish class again or no?
All right, you can start.
All right, so this is the case of Dana Rishpy. It's spelled like Dana, but it is pronounced Donna. And she disappeared in Mexico, of all places. She lived in Israel, but she also had citizenship in Germany because I guess they moved around a little bit. They also had a house in New York City that they would stay a couple weeks out of the year. So apparently they're well traveled, they're well versed. Her dad used to work for actually a dictator. He was a pilot. So he would fly the dictator around. He was the dictator of Uganda in the 1960s. She had 3 older siblings, and I have her birth date in here. I know she was born in 1982. I'll have to find the exact day, but she was actually in the Israeli army for a little while. She also helped dub children's cartoons in Japan at one point when she was trying to figure out what she wanted to do. I'm not sure which ones exactly.
She's like all over the place. She's incredibly worldly, like already. That's insane.
I know. It's pretty incredible that she was able to accomplish all of this.
I have yet to leave this country.
I know. You need to get on that. What you need to do is you need to come with us to Japan when we are able to go back. Or just go on your own, do what you know to do. But I would highly recommend, obviously, Japan. She did look into schools in California. She wanted to do computer animation, possibly for, the same type of thing that she was dubbing for like Japanese cartoons or something else like that. But she was really passionate, but she was still trying to figure out what her true passion was and what kind of, I guess, was the most interesting thing to her. She vanished May 30th of 2007. She had arrived in Cancun, Mexico a little over a month before that. It was March 26th of '07, and she actually emailed her family on March 28th of 2007. She had met some foreign tourists and she was kind of just vacationing, seeing what was going on, kind of checking it
Mm.
out. And she definitely liked to go on adventures, even if she didn't know anyone, even if she was there by herself. So she went to go see, I believe it was the Mayan temples. There was a nearby island that she was going to go to, and she had met some people that were from the US. And I think there were people that were Swiss also who happened to be going that way. So she was like, hey, why not? So that ended up happening at some point, but her family last heard from her. Let's see. I think it's either the 28th or it might have been April 7th. It's a little bit hard to tell based on what was available. So after March 28th, her parents end up getting a phone call on April 7th of 2007. They are in New York City at the time. Their phone rings, they pick it up. It is in fact not Donna. It is someone else who happened to know her while she was in Mexico. And he said that his name was Maddie and he had her backpack. Why did
So
he
wait,
have it?
that's just a bit over what, a week?
Mm-hmm. When I did the math, it was like a little over a week after that last email. It's a significant amount of time though for
Yeah.
not to hear from someone, but it's also 2007. I don't know about international calls. Maybe it was just like email.
I mean,
Still,
yeah, but even still, like being in a country all by yourself and not keeping in touch with anyone, that
right.
that's dicey.
Yeah, I was trying to pull up the calendar, but it's taken a little bit longer, but it's longer than I would imagine it would have been, especially when you're in a foreign country, a country that you don't have a citizenship or a house in, for you not to
Right.
contact your parents and just check in and be like, "Hey, everything's cool. Last couple of days were busy, but hey, I'm still alive. Everything's good." So March 28th, I'm pretty sure is the last time they hear from her.
Hmm.
So we see, so this conversation, her parents, it's Danya and Dror. It's Dror. They are in Manhattan. They received the phone call. Someone described themselves as Maddie, saying that he has her backpack and she had left the backpack with him, is what he says of Donna.
Hmm.
Yeah, the parents weren't really chill about it. They said, "Hey, that's totally cool."
I mean,
Uh,
that doesn't feel like the time that you should be like really relaxed about something. She's in a different country and now some random dude's calling you and
right.
says, "Hey, she left her backpack with me." Uh and then you're just like, "Oh yeah, she be doing that.
She be doing that.
She be doing that."
So they said, "Hey, yeah, just leave it at the hotel. That way, when she comes back to the hotel, just leave a note just saying, that you just dropped it off there." And I guess they're assuming that they're going to immediately email her, check in, whatever. They're like, okay, whatever. They assume that he's helping at this point. They're like, okay, thank you for the help. Thank you for helping her out. So immediately after getting off the phone, her mom, Danya, emails her and says this it's urgent that you respond. So I don't know if they were just saving face with him on the phone or if something clicked after they hung up the phone and then she immediately is like, "Oh shit, that probably isn't right." So there's
Hmm.
it's a little murky, but they do immediately contact her via email saying, "Please, email us back, let us know that you're okay." And they also mention that Maddie is going to drop off the backpack just in case he hasn't already let her know. They receive no response. So they send quite a few follow up emails after that point, but none of them are responded to. They don't hear back from her. At this point, Danya logs into Donna's email. I'm not sure how that happens. I don't know if she was able to gain access via the police or if her daughter actually had given her the password at some point, or maybe
Hmm.
she had the same password all the time, so they knew it, something like that. And they discover it had gone unused for about 2 weeks. And at this point, I believe it is now. It's at least a few days later at this point. So basically, they're assuming at least at the beginning of April, she hadn't used it. So in all this
Okay.
time, so possibly not even since the last email they received, which was on the 28th of March. So they're thinking maybe
So
right
wait,
around that point. What?
they got an email from her email address, but it was showing that it had been longer unused than when they received it?
No. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so the last email they received on March 28th could have been the last time that she logged in.
Gotcha.
That's the timeline that it seems to be described, at least in the articles that I was reading. That's
Mhm.
the biggest clue that they were able to kind of figure out. There was one email that was received by Donna that they start looking into. The username was Flower Power. So whatever that's about. It was actually from Maddie. And it was sent just hours after he called her parents in New York City. The email stated that basically the same thing they went over in the conversation. He left the bag at the hotel desk and then said he was leaving, like leaving the country or whatever. He was going to head on because I don't think he lived in Mexico. I think he was also vacationing.
Mhm.
So he was going to head back home or.
Yeah, I bet he's gonna bail.
Right. So it is believed pretty heavily that these are obvious distractions and meant to be kind of like an alibi as to why he's even involved in her life, had the backpack in the first place. My mother would lose her absolute shit if I didn't communicate with her within 2 days of when I last communicated with her, especially if I'm in a foreign country.
Bro, my mom texts me every morning. I text her back every morning. If I go to if I miss a text, we're talking maybe 8 hours before she's reaching out to Sarah and being like, "Hey, is he dead? You have to tell me."
Oh, just is he dead?
Yeah, that's all she asks is he dead? And question mark. And Sarah's like, nah. And then mom's like, bet.
Shut up. Oh, God. I know your mom. That is not what she says. So
That's true.
she's probably like, my golden child, where is he?
Yeah.
I have
Where's
not
my
heard
sweet
from him.
baby boy?
His head might drag along the floor as he walks, but I miss him dearly. I did get that from BuzzFeed Unsolved. I will admit that. Okay.
That was uncalled for.
Blame the alcohol. Moving along. So the Israeli consulate, the embassy that's in Mexico, they discover that Maddie is actually named Matthew Walshin, is his name. At the
His real
time,
name's not Maddie.
I fucking know. So either way, the parents ended up urging him to email them back because I guess they got the email from Donna's email. He did respond, and I believe this is on the 21st of April that he responds.
Okay.
So they say, hey, have you heard from her? We really need to know more. He says the last time he heard from Donna was March 31st of 2007, which could also be that timeline of when she was last logging into that email. So he could be telling the truth on that part.
But didn't he call them like days later?
It was on April 7th, but they did send follow-up emails to Donna waiting for her to respond. It doesn't say how many days in between that time.
Well, no. When did Maddie call the parents? On the 7th?
On the 7th.
So that would make it seem like he had her shit for a week.
Right.
And then was finally like, hey guys, she told me she'd be back in a half hour. This is pretty strange.
He's also a guy, so. Yeah, sometimes guys are like, yeah, she said she was gonna be back in an hour, but like maybe she got distracted, maybe she went shopping for 3 days.
What
Not
kind of sexist bullshit
Not you. I'm not saying it's you. You know there's guys that are slightly oblivious that might just be like,
Yeah.
maybe.
I mean, okay, whatever.
Come on.
Yeah. No, I
Okay.
got it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up. So it's very weird that he's had the backpack for that long though. So he last sees her March 31st. He's had the backpack for like a week, 7 days now. And what he heard from her, what she said was she was going to go visit the Mayan ruins in Tulum, Mexico. She wasn't going to go alone, but as I said, she was going to go with some other people. I think some were American, some were from Quebec. There were also some Swiss people that she had run into. They all were going to go to the island, check it out, or wherever the ruins are. They were going to go take a look, and then she was going to come back to Cancun. Her parents asked for the name and location of the bungalow where she was staying. That email got no reply whatsoever. So that's great. And once again, April 21st is the last time they hear from him, and the only time I believe they hear from him, when he said it was the 31st that he last saw her in March. So at this point, her parents contact the Mexican police. The backpack is found on April 24th of 2007. So this is 3 days later. It was left in the hotel where she was staying, like he said. They find her passport, both passports actually, because I think she may have had one from Germany. She may have also had one from Israel. The rest of her belongings are there as well. The money is there that she had. They also find her diary. Yeah.
Did they read it?
They did. They did. I mean,
What a betrayal of trust.
I mean, they kind of have to at that point.
I mean, yeah, but.
So the last entry inside of it is dated March 30th. It was written in Hebrew, and it stated she had actually come back from Tulum already. She had already seen the Mayan ruins. The island was there. The 2 Swiss people had been there. There was an American that she met. The American happened to be Maddie. So that's the American. Yeah, he's from America. So she met him there, or they had gone there together with the other people and already come back, is what she has written in her diary.
So she went to the ruins with him, but he was like, oh, no. She told me she was going to go visit them. So he's trying to distance himself, that sneaky bitch.
I'm guessing he also can't read Hebrew. So. Although his name would still look the same, I would think, but maybe not. Actually, that could be wrong. Because I don't know how Hebrew is written.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if sometimes for names, if they still write it however it is, whether it's, the Romanic alphabet, right, or if they, there's some other way that they would write it. So I don't know if he even opened her diary, to be honest. Hopefully he didn't. But Maddie had offered to share his cabin, is what she writes in the diary. And God, immediately when I wrote this, I got to take a sip. I'm sorry. Oh boy. This is what is written next. I do not know his intentions, but I don't want anything to do with him, at least until he takes a bath and cuts his hair.
I didn't want to make like the stereotypical hippie joke when you said flower power was the email and it turned out to be Maddie, but there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Just, oh God. He seems friendly, but he stinks. ... What? And then after that, it says, what a good fortune to meet a guy like Maddie who knows this place. So that's
who
all.
Who knows this place or
this
his place? This place. Okay.
Who knows his place?
Who knows his place? I was like, God damn.
So that was written in the entry. So she addressed his lack of bathing and the fact that they had already gone to the ruins. So that night she wrote that she was attending a party with him, and apparently it was a reoccurring one that was at the hotel that she was staying at. It was every Friday, and it was kind of just like a beach probably bonfire, hang out, music, everything like that. And they were going to go together. It's possible they may have determined that he was there by other means. I know they questioned people that had been there. They were able to catch a video clip. There's a small snapshot I found that actually has what he looks like that I'm going to post on our Instagram. So at this point, they also
How bad is
contact.
his hair?
His hair is actually blonde, which I wasn't expecting. I don't know why. He's
No,
very
I mean, like
tan,
the
blonde.
length. She said he had to cut his hair. Is it like
That I don't understand though. The picture that I saw, it wasn't someone that was like like they were seemed clean shaven and everything like that. I
his
actually
hair didn't seem unkempt?
unkempt or unkept.
Whichever one is the right one.
We're not sure. We're not sure. How do I'm going to send it to you. That way you can see it. But yeah, he didn't look strange. He didn't look like someone you would be like, oh no, he definitely looks homeless. It wasn't anything like that at all. He seemed like someone that lives in like California. He seemed like a surfer. Granted, it's from the side, it's very grainy, but that's what I was able to see at least. I'm trying to figure out how to send it to you, but either way, I will show that to you.
I don't worry, I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah, it's Dana, Dana Rishpy.
Oh, yep, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, the one that I found it on, I believe, is not the Jewish Forward. I think it's a different website, so I would look and see if you can find. And then it's Matthew. What did I say his last name was? Walshin. It's Walshin. So they contact the embassy in Mexico City. Immediately, they fly volunteers and other people that are willing to help to the area. And they start searching for her, searching for any details they can find, probably searching for him as well. Because on April 26th, 2 days after her parents called the embassy, they find his apartment, which apparently was in Mexico. So he did have an apartment there.
He's just a lying ass bitch all around.
Yes, hashtag lying ass bitch will be the name of the episode. And then they had missed him by only hours. So if they had been a little bit quicker, it makes me so angry. It makes me so angry. They missed him by hours. He had just flown to, I believe it's San Francisco. Hours. Oh, it makes me so mad.
Heavens.
Yes, they had to stop, or he had to stop over in Phoenix. And he had a California driver's license that was found in Mexico, of all things, in that apartment. There was a newspaper from the day before, which I guess allowed them to figure out that he had just left. And that's probably when they figured out the flight and everything like that. He had left quickly. And as I said, it was quite unfortunate that time was not on their side and that they had missed him. So Donna's brother arrives in Mexico from Spain, where he was living. They don't mention him by name, but he was helping look for her. And as they've noted, the investigation was not done well at all. They weren't collecting evidence properly. They weren't on it like they should have been. If they had been swifter, they probably would have stopped him before he went back to America. Let's see. And then there's a little bit of lag. What? Okay.
It was a weird reflection on my headphone in the mirror or the camera. I thought something was behind me and I kind of like, oh.
Did you see a ghost or was it just your complexion?
It was just my complexion, you shithead.
I'm so proud of that. So June and October of 2007, they questioned a few different people, both in Belize and Guatemala. And they identify Donna and Maddie in photographs for whatever it's worth. I said, what the fuck? And they closed the investigation. I don't know if that
means they identified them and then they were like, all right, well, that's solved, but didn't have. Okay, that
I don't know if this means I don't know if this means Maddie had been at these locations in subsequent months, like in June, and then in, October, he was in Guatemala.
Hmm.
And then they were like, oh, yes, that person that's with him, that looks like her. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, she's fine. So they closed the investigation. That's what it seems like.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's great. Later in October, there's a journalist named Sylvia Sharem. I may be mispronouncing that. She published a 6-part investigation in La Reforma, and she denounces the entire investigation by authorities, basically saying they were careless. They just weren't doing a good enough job at all.
Hmm.
And the police that are covering it are specifically the tourism police that are specific to Cancun. So obviously, they don't want to get too far into it. They want to assume everything's fine because no one wants their tourism disrupted. Because do you remember when Natalie Holloway disappeared? Do you remember that at all?
Sure don't.
Okay, I do. Because my mom raised me basically on America's Most Wanted and all of that type of thing. So she went missing in Aruba in like '05 or something like that. And I can only imagine how many people didn't go there because they were worried that they would get
Hmm.
abducted. So I think it's like a similar thing. They don't want to put it out there and have people not want to go to Cancun.
But it's crazy to me that they're like, hey, we had to open up a separate arm of police specifically for tourism,
Hmm.
but luckily everything's a-okay on every investigation. Turns out totally fine. Totally fine.
Oh,
Yes,
God.
we do have an entire department that we have investigating crimes involving tourism, but everything's good.
Hmm.
That's sketchy.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that read tourism police and was like, but why?
Hmm. That's a problem.
But why?
Yeah. Like if you went to a zoo and they were like, "Oh,
Shut up.
okay, we have the escaped predator police here." Your immediate thought is going to be, what happened that made you decide you needed them? The escaped predator police?
You know what I'm imagining? I'm imagining the BTK killer in like an exhibit. And
That'd be fun.
he's just like, God damn it. Just like,
Yeah, because he's just a boring looking bitch anyway. And oh man, if you could just that might be a controversial take. But if if you could go to a zoo that had like criminals in it, and then you could pay to like throw funny things at them,
shut up.
or like what's that when you go to the uh not medieval times, the Renaissance festival,
I like the
and
axe.
well, I no, you don't throw axes at people, then you're just a criminal as well. I was talking about when you
Hmm.
what is it, like dunk a whore, when you throw you throw
Dunk
the
a
things.
whore, dunk a hoe, dunk
You know what
a.
I'm talking about, right?
I
When
do. I think it's like
throw
dunk
it
a
at
wench or something.
that makes much more sense. It is a family place. Um,
Dunk a whore.
dunk a whore. It's probably like wet a wench or something. Um,
I
but
feel
yeah,
like
you just you throw the stuff at those and they dunk them down in the water. That'd be fun.
I have a new
Throw
business
throw rocks at
proposition.
like
We make an OnlyFans account. We find one of our friends that is willing, and we call it Dunk a Whore. And we literally just dunk them in a dunk tank.
that. That took a turn that I wasn't expecting. I thought you were gonna say we need to start catching criminals and put them in cages so we can throw like Nickelodeon slime at them. Pay $100,
Yeah.
slime up.
Mm.
Uh,
Mm,
we should get back on track.
we should.
I feel like I'm digging myself a hole over here.
You're probably right. Anyway, look out on OnlyFans for Dunk-a-Whore coming to you soon.
Yes.
So, where were we? Oh, yeah. So there's tourism police. So we're all like, okay, not suspect. And apparently, Maddie Walshin had previous encounters with police.
No
Go
way.
figure. Right in 1990, which is 17 years before this, he was convicted of sexual battery in California. He served 6 months in jail and then 5 months probation. Doesn't seem like long enough to me.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like selling shitty dirt weed.
No.
That's bad.
Yeah. And then the Mexican federal government, they announced that they were opening their own look into the case. So that's not the local government that was there, but like the federal, like their FBI, basically, is going to look into the case.
Okay.
So they look into all of that. And in that time, Donna's parents, they hire a private eye, a PI, to kind of look into it. In mid-September, I believe it's still in 2007, the PI goes to San Francisco where Maddie is, right?
Okay.
He wants to be their eyes and ears. He wants to be like, okay, what is this guy up to?
Yeah, boots on the ground. I get it.
He walked up to him on the street.
Okay.
The city, I honestly can't read it because I'm too drunk. I'm so sorry. But it's near Berkeley in California. The PI told the Mexican police, he relayed the information that he got involved into a brawl with Maddie on the street. Legit, they're just having like an MMA fight just on the streets of San Francisco.
So he was hired to, you would imagine, keep his cover, be unsuspicious, and gain intel.
Don't be suspicious.
And he ran up, starts talking to him, fights him, and then goes and tells the police about it.
Yeah.
All right.
So, like, could you imagine them fighting
I like
on
this
the
guy's
street?
style. That's hilarious.
I know. He's just fearless.
He's terrible at his job, but that is entertaining.
Well, I don't know if they said to confront him or if he's just like, hey, yo, watch this, to like himself only because no one else knows he's there.
But I mean, if you're trying to get your daughter back, you're not going to be like, the only person on this earth that I think has information. Can you go punch him in the neck?
So I'm imagining him in like a bit. I don't know what PIs look like. I imagine them Hollywood style, like they're in a business suit. I don't know what they're actually doing, what they look like.
I believe that they have thick, dark mustaches, luscious hair, a Hawaiian shirt.
Shut up. Are you describing Tom Selleck?
I am describing Magnum PI. Yes, correct.
Maybe that could be the thing. So I put in there, imagine one man likely in now a Hawaiian shirt or a business suit, the other guy in the fight possibly looking homeless. So it looks pretty bad, right?
Doesn't look great.
Okay. So during the fight, Maddie reportedly said to the PI, you will never find, quote, the girl in Mexico.
Maybe that means she's not in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
there are more sinister interpretations of that. But maybe it just means wrong country, bro.
Wrong country, bro. Yeah, I think so. So Maddie Walshin spent that night in the Slammer. And from what I'm aware, the PI didn't. I'm not quite sure. They don't mention it. We're assuming he's fine. So in 2009, this is 2 years later, the Rishpys traveled to Houston hoping to meet a family in Texas who might have been the last to see her other than potentially Maddie. So they go there and they do talk to the family. So what they find out is in 2007, this family was in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. There's a woman that is unconscious and drugged on a roadway. She's on the side of the road. I'm assuming it's not like a highway. I'm assuming it's just like one of the roads there.
I
This
mean, it could
fam-
be a highway.
yeah, it's very concerning. I'm assuming it's like a touristy road by the beach somewhere that they happened to see her because they didn't have a car. They literally were from a cruise ship that had docked and they were just checking out the city.
Okay.
So it's a mom, a dad. There's two older daughters, and then I'm assuming like two middle school age sons, maybe in high school. Either way, they were all there and they see this woman. She's unconscious. They help her. They take her to a beachside eatery. They give her ice water. They're trying to revive her because at this point, she's basically unconscious. She has been drugged, is what they believe.
They took her to a beachside eatery?
Yeah, because they were like, hey, let's help her out. We were going to go eat anyway. Let's get her some food, some nourishment, water.
Take her to a fucking hospital.
Like maybe that's
She
a good
doesn't need
idea.
she doesn't need nachos and water. She
Maybe
needs medical attention.
maybe she wasn't as bad. Oh, they did say unconscious, didn't they?
They
Okay.
found her on the side of the road.
I know. I wasn't there. I'm sorry. I don't know.
I don't mean to be taking this out on you. I'm just saying, like,
Very upset right now. Okay, so anyway, the Mexican tourist police, shady, they specialize in that area of, people. And so they come
what do you
and
mean that area of people?
like tourists is what I meant. I'm sorry, that sounded really horrible.
Like,
That's what happens
Huh.
when you ad lib and you don't read the notes because then you say things and you're like, fuck.
that's fair.
Didn't sound good. Didn't sound good. No, I meant tourists. I honestly meant tourists. Jesus fuck. So what happens is the family tries to revive her. They give her water. They get the tourist police involved. What do the police do? They release her to a man that claimed to be her boyfriend or fiance. Who do we think this is?
It might be Maddie, but also that's a problem if you walk up and you're like, hey, I'm her boyfriend. She said she doesn't have a boyfriend. I meant fiance. And they're like,
good enough.
well, she didn't say she doesn't have a fiance.
So that is the last that family sees of her, the one that tried to help her out. They're like, let's get the police involved. The police are like, hey, there's this guy. He says he knows her. He says they're in love. They're like, oh my God, we love love. That sounds great. So there she goes.
I have heard that the Mexican tourist police are the biggest supporters of Love is Love.
I was following you like 100% through that whole thing. And then you got to the last part of it. And I was like, damn it.
Yeah, no, you looked like you were taking me very seriously, which I was surprised by.
It's like, please inform me. And then I was like, oh, fucking asshole. So oh, we've both been drinking. All right. I promise I am literate. Okay, so we can't guarantee that it was Donna, but the family seems convinced that it could have been from what they remember of the woman that they helped.
Mhm.
So now I have those details that are important. Donna was born May 26th of 1982. She has blue eyes. She's got brown wavy hair. She's 120 pounds. She is 5'7". Several things describe me, but 120 pounds is not the one. So basically, she's from Israel. She knows Donna, spelled like Dana, Dana.
Oh no, you said it
Rishpy.
I know, but you said it sounded like they were describing you. So I yelled Donna to see if you responded to it. You did not.
I fucking hate you. So for a second I was like, yes, that is the person we're talking about. So
yeah, what are you, dumb?
She knows Hebrew, English, maybe some Spanish because she was in Mexico. So we all know a couple things, but I don't know how much she knows Spanish. As I said, she is a dual citizen of Israel and Germany. So she likely also knows German and that is pretty much what I have on Dana Rishpy. I don't know if we'll ever know what happened to her, but I would definitely contact anyone but the Mexican police should you know what happened to her, because let's just contact Israel at this point. No offense to
Contact the
Mexico.
Mexican tourist police specific.
Mm-mm,
The regular Mexican police are just going to be like, that's not our jurisdiction.
mm-mm. I did mention the pun thing, right? We're done with the case, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yes, you vaguely mentioned it and said we're gonna talk about that more later. Is now later.
Did I look that squinty when I did it?
I have tiny eyes, you bitch.
Not in those glasses, you know. We would like you to send us your puns, your serial killer, spooky, creepy, murderous puns. We're going to call them Ted Pundies. Oh, God, I love that so much. I'm so glad I came up with it. You can send them via email at dearfriendsdeadends@gmail. You can also send them via DM on my, our Instagram, Dear Friends Dead Ends Pod. The link in the bio for our profile has all the links that you need. You can email us directly from that page as well. But send us your puns. We're going to talk about them on the show. We'll go over them. We'll shout you out. Send us your first name, your initials, whatever you're comfortable with. But some people prefer like your scary experiences or, hey, your encounter with a serial killer. We just want your puns, honestly. That's what
You can
I would like.
you can also text Ashley. Give me just a second. I'm going to read her phone number out loud.
Luckily, I'm editing this episode, so I'm not concerned.
Damn it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that'll be fun. And eventually I'll finish setting up the Facebook.
Yeah, can you do that today, maybe?
We'll see.
Anyway, so that is part 1 of this episode. That is the case of Dana Rishpy. I really hope we find her. I hate to say it, but I don't have a lot of faith at this point. It has been almost 14 years. So I did the math right this time. And I hate that we don't know what happened to her. If you happen to know who he is, if you know him personally, like slap him upside the fucking head and please ask him.
We would like to interview him on the podcast. If you could,
well,
again, Maddie, if you're listening, this is Ashley's phone number, and I will now read it out loud again.
That's cool. Right. I also have his phone number, so we're fine.
Touche. All right, so the case that I am covering this week is the mysterious murder of Robert Dennis Blair Adams. I know, it's a long name.
Going on.
He went by Blair.
Oh my God, you've done it again. I have no idea who this is.
It's a good one. So Robert Dennis Blair Adams was born on December 12th, 1964 in Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. He seemingly led an uneventful life, but he clearly did have a few dark spots in it, as he did have a small criminal record. We'll get into that later. But he had, at the time of his murder, he had actually been sober for 2 years, thanks to Alcoholics Anonymous. He was a foreman for a construction company, which is actually how he met his girlfriend. He was...
Get it.
Sorry. Oh, yeah. He was in Germany working for his stepfather's construction company and met a woman who lived in Frankfurt, and they started a long distance.
Was it called Das Construction?
No, it wasn't. He was a Canadian that went over to Germany. He didn't have a German name.
Construction, eh?
I mean, I like that one better. Unfortunately, at the time of his murder, he was seemingly happy with himself, his relationships, and his job. People close to him said that he started to act pretty weird leading up to his murder sometime on July 11th, 1996. He was acting like skittish and paranoid. His mom kept asking him, "What's going on? You're not being yourself." And he apparently was just like, "Listen, some shit, it's going down. It's bad. I can't explain." He wouldn't give his mom any information about what was going on, but very clearly he thought some people were after him.
But like, how much do you tell your parents? Like, let's be real.
But I mean, but he's acting crazy. Wait, are you saying me specifically?
I meant like people in general.
Oh yeah, I mean, like he apparently was really close with his mom, and she was like, "You're not acting like yourself," and he was just like, "Yeah, shit's about to get real, Mom. Can't tell you why." So on July 5th, 1996, he actually withdrew the majority of his savings and emptied his safety deposit box. So he has just pockets full of cash, jewelry, and all the precious metals that he had in his safe deposit box. He apparently had like gold bars and platinum and a bunch of jewelry. So he withdraws all of that and immediately, just pockets spilling with cash and precious metals, immediately jumps on a ferry in Victoria, British Columbia to cross the border into Seattle. So he just loads up his pockets with a bunch of money, and then he's like, "Peace."
He sounds like a man of adventure. I am in.
Yeah, so as it turns out, when you're trying to cross the border into a different country,
I like country though.
country, when you're trying to cross the border into a different country, it's super suspicious if you have wads of cash and gold bars on you. So customs basically, I mean, they quite literally flagged him as a drug runner. He's I don't know why he chose a ferry either. Like I guess that seems kind of inconspicuous.
I feel like you would think they would search you less than if you were flying, because they would definitely search you a lot more.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, just brimming with cash. He's got bars of gold. He jumps on the boat, and they're like, "Sir, no, you're clearly involved with drugs," and they kick him off the boat back into Canada.
Oh.
So 4 days later, on July 9th, he is caught trying to cross the border on foot. Okay? Records show that his hands and legs were covered in scratches.
Yeah. Nature, not fun. I would like, what do you imagine crossing the border to be like?
Oh no, he was at a border crossing post. He wasn't crawling through bushes.
I thought you meant he was like crossing illegally. Like, through the woods.
No, he went to one of the places that you can legally cross the border. He wasn't. Yeah, no, he wasn't.
He was just gonna walk over, or did he drive?
He was trying to walk across the border, and so they said his hands and legs were covered in scratches. He's detained because he matches the description of a man that stole a car that was abandoned near this Pacific Highway border crossing.
Okay.
So essentially what it sounds like is he steals a car. Instead of driving across the border, he abandons the car. It gets found. Somehow he winds up covered in scratches, and then he's essentially just trying to walk through this place, like dripping blood, cash sticking out of his pockets.
I have a question.
Yes.
Did he own a cat? For the scratches, like, I'm serious. It's a serious question.
I don't know if he owned a cat.
Because I can tell you right now. Exhibit A.
No, cats do scratch. That is correct. He, as far as we know, he was not climbing through a rose bush, and he was not fighting cats. He was not fighting cats before he tried to come into the USA.
It's an important elimination.
There was a lack of evidence for the car that was stolen. but he was still acting super suspicious. So again, just thrown right back into Canada. You cannot come into the USA.
You cannot. Canada not.
Yes, you Canada not. Early in the morning, July 10th, he goes to the Vancouver International Airport. He rents a Nissan Altima, and he just drives across. He just drives across the border.
So he did not successfully cross on foot. So then he's like, "Oh, if I have a car, it will work better this time."
Yes, he basically, his last resort was what he should have tried first.
Oh, that is his third. Oh, Jesus Christ.
He tried to go through customs to get on a ferry. He tried to walk through customs, and then he just drove through, and they were like, "All right, yeah, that's fine." So he drives. Yeah, he gets through first try driving, which should have been his first resort. So he gets to the Seattle Tacoma International Airport and buys a round trip ticket to Frankfurt,
Germany.
That's where Frankfurt is. Yes.
Not everyone knows that. I know at least one coworker that does not. I'm not going to say her name.
But it's a her. So eventually investigators, when they're trying to figure out like what he was doing, they contacted his girlfriend who lived in Frankfurt, and there had been no discussion whatsoever about a visit. So if he was going to see her, it was a surprise. She wasn't aware of it.
Surprise! I'm arrested. No.
I don't think his girlfriend would arrest him, but it's possible.
Maybe
she might
that's
have been
what
a
they're
cop.
into.
Okay. So it didn't matter if he was trying to go to Germany anyway, because he ended up exchanging the ticket for a one-way ticket to Washington, D.C. And apparently investigators found that kind of strange, because at that point in time, it was more expensive to buy a one-way trip from that airport to DC than it was to do a round trip.
I lived like close enough to DC. I've been there. Not really worth it. Go
DC
to
or the airport?
What airport?
No, what are you saying is worth it to go to?
Oh, I meant DC.
DC's fun.
You're right. I'm sorry. I'm jaded. I've been there. Please check out the Smithsonian. Highly recommend.
All right. So at 6:45 on the 10th, July 10th, he lands at Dulles Airport. He rents a Toyota Camry, and he starts driving. No one initially knew where he was going, but later in the morning, he actually had a fender bender with another driver in Troy, Virginia. He stopped. He exchanged information and everything like that. The driver of the other car was actually also spoken to when they were doing the investigation, said that he seemed like a really nice guy, but he sure was in a hurry. So
what airport did he land in?
He landed in Dulles.
Thank you. I want to know how far it is.
What?
I'm trying to figure out how far it is from Dulles to Troy, Virginia. It is actually 2 hours and 15 minutes, by the way.
Okay.
So I thought it was like right outside. It is not.
No. So in that day, July 10th, he actually drove all the way to Knoxville, Tennessee, the entire 500 miles in one day.
That's it. Isn't that like 11, like 10 hours or something?
You can do it in about like 8-9 hours. So we're talking probably like 5-6 hours of driving.
Okay.
So after the mild car accident in Troy, Virginia, the first record of him is he was at a gas station, and the clerk at the gas station actually called an interstate repair service driver because Adams couldn't get back into his car. So he got out of his car, he got gas, he locked his car up, he went inside, he came back out. Suddenly he can't get in his car. His key won't work. So the clerk calls this interstate repair service driver. The service driver's name was Gerald Sapp. So Sapp shows up, immediately notices that Adams is using a Nissan key, which was from his rental from what?
Wait, he's using a Nissan key, but what car does he have now?
A Toyota Camry. So yeah, so it's from the other rental car, and the guy's like, it's cool, bud. That's just not the right key. And Adams is adamant that it is. No, this is the correct key. It's like,
Doesn't
nope,
it usually have that symbol on it?
Oh yeah, pretty blatantly normally.
Okay.
And I mean, it was enough that the guy spotted that the key was the wrong manufacturer as soon as he walked up. So he walks up and he's like, "Nope, that's a Nissan key. You're driving a Toyota." And he's, "No, this is the key I used to get here." And Sapp goes, "It is not. You drove this car here, so clearly you have the key. Did you drop it?" So Adams won't help him look around. So Sapp starts looking around, seeing, like, look under the car, look
Person
inside.
that came to help him.
The guy that came to help him starts looking around, looking for the key, can't find the key.
And he's just standing there, just like, no, this is the right key.
Repeated trying the key. He's going, no, this is the key. He just keeps trying it. So he's got this key jammed in this car. He's just cranking it back and forth. And the guy's like, "Sir, that is the wrong key."
He's like, don't tell me what I know, Travis.
So
that's from Zootopia. I'm very sorry.
Oh, okay.
See ya.
So the guy starts looking around for the key. They can't find the key. He ends up opening up the car for him.
How can they not find the key for the car that he drove?
That's what he's saying. So he goes, oh, that was the other thing. So he goes, "Sir, you clearly have the wrong key in your hand. Check your pockets." And Blair Adams, no. He goes, "No, sir, that's the incorrect key. Please check your pockets for the correct key." "I won't." He refuses to check his pockets. He just keeps trying the same incorrect key over and over and over. So the guy looks around, can't find the key. He ends up, like, I guess, using one of those, like, jimmies, opens the car up. They look in the car to see if maybe he locked the key in the car. The key's not in there either. He's so stubborn on checking his pockets that rather than check his pockets, he tells this poor man, "Tow my car. You're going to have to tow it. We don't have the key. Tow my car." So they tow his car and they give Adams a ride to the Fairfield Inn in Knoxville. So this is the second rental car that is just gone ass up.
Jesus. Because
he's being stubborn and just leaving shit all over the place. So he gets dropped off at this hotel and he's still just acting weird as shit. He goes in, he goes into the hotel lobby and spends almost an hour in there just talking to the receptionist. She's repeatedly like, "Hey, are you getting a room?" And he's just not having it. He spent almost an hour talking to her while entering and exiting this place at least 5 times,
No.
according to security.
Stop it.
Yeah. So
he went out and went back in and was like, hello there.
Yeah. So I mean, like they actually interviewed her, and she said he was a super nice guy, but he seemed clearly confused as shit. So he finally, after almost an hour of just walking in, walking out, walking in, walking out, hey, how you doing? He finally says, I would like to rent a room. And she goes, perfect. That's going to be some odd dollars, $53.60. He hands her a $100 bill. He grabs the key and walks out without accepting the change.
I got you now. I got you.
So the investigation showed that after all of that, they watched the security footage, everything like that. They could tell that he never went into the room that he rented.
Stop.
He spent an hour in the lobby.
Stop.
He paid $100 for a room and never entered the room. And then, so at this point, there's about a 12-hour span where they don't know what happened.
Jesus Christ.
So we jump forward to the next morning. At 7:30 a.m., July 11th, 1996, construction workers found Blair Adams' body. Okay? Your boy is naked from the waist down.
I mean, like, that's how we come into the world, though.
He is in a parking lot.
Okay.
He's in a parking lot. He is entirely naked from the waist down. He's still wearing his button-up shirt, but it's been torn open.
I mean, sometimes passion just hits us so hard that we just cannot control ourselves.
Sure. Again, he's in a parking lot by himself. So all of the clothes that should have been on his bottom half were lying near his body. His underwear, socks, shoes, pants, just kind of scattered out in the parking lot. Okay? So, and mind you, he never entered the room that he rented, but he was found the next morning in their parking lot.
Oh, so he didn't get far.
He didn't get far. 12 hours later, just snake out dead in the parking lot.
I mean, like, some people like snakes. It's fine.
I was talking about his penis, Ashley.
I know that. I got that.
Oh, okay. Now he had $4,000 worth of currency in a mix of United States, Canadian, and German bills.
Hold on. You said Canadian, German. Did you say U.S. dollars also?
Yep. A mix
$4,000.
A mix of them. So the three of them combined,
correct,
equaled about $4,000, but it's just strewn about the parking lot around him.
Nobody took that shit.
No one took it. They also found a duffel bag near him that had a bunch of travel receipts and maps. And this man had a fanny pack.
Yes.
A black leather fanny pack filled with all of his gold, platinum, and jewelry.
That is the sexiest description I've ever heard.
Right?
Fanny pack, leather, jewelry.
It didn't say whether, I mean, well, I guess he wouldn't be wearing the fanny pack because he was naked from the waist down. But I mean, I feel like there's worse ways to go out than like naked in possession of a fanny pack filled with gold, platinum, and jewelry.
I do not want to put this on anyone, but if something is going to happen to DJ Khaled, which I'm not saying it should, and I don't want it to because I think he's entertaining, I feel like that's how he's going to go out. Jewelry, leather, badass, naked.
That's a hot take, but it makes sense. So yeah. Naked, just dingle-dangling, fanny pack filled with
Did
precious...
you say dingle-dangling?
Yeah, his dingle's dangling. fanny pack filled with precious metals and jewelry, cash just strewn about. So they did an autopsy on him. It showed he had defensive wounds on top, on his hands, in addition to the ones that you think he got crawling through a bush filled with cats.
I don't know his life.
Yeah, no, that's fair. He also had a wound on his head that was suspected to be from a crowbar. The autopsy actually showed that the strike from the crowbar didn't kill him, but at some point he was hit so hard in the abdomen that it ruptured his stomach lining.
Jesus Christ.
Right. So the official cause of death was sepsis due to
Why are you laughing?
because I fucked up in my notes again. It says his official cause of death was sepsis, dude. It's supposed to say sepsis due to abdominal perforation, but it says sepsis, dude.
Expose of the body. Expose of the body.
Oh, fuck off.
Dispose. Dispose of the
Expose.
body.
So, God damn it. So, yeah, at some point he was hit so hard in his stomach that it ruptured his stomach lining. So
God.
all of that stuff that is not supposed to be floating around inside you was floating around inside him. The only physical DNA at the crime scene at all was one long strand of hair gripped in Adam's hand.
Okay.
Just one. The cops did assume that it was immediately like some sort of sex related crime because he was naked. And they said so it said that there was suspected sexual abuse towards him.
Towards him.
Towards him. But there was no DNA evidence of it. So it said that the cops said that he was sexually assaulted, but there was no actual DNA evidence of it. So I think they were just like, well, his dick's out. Something happened.
I do want to point out, I wanted to look up how much force it takes. I did not use that wording like an intelligent adult. It says you can rupture your stomach if you eat too much. So apparently it is not that hard to rupture your stomach.
You probably got to eat a lot though.
Oh, for sure though.
But yeah, so I mean, it's just super strange. Within the span of like 2-3 weeks, he went from this guy that had turned his life around,
right,
to just bare ass cheeks on the pavement, cash everywhere, dead, fanny pack filled with gold, which again is pretty baller. But
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it doesn't make it's wild. And so people
and sexually assaulted.
That's what the cops said. But again, there was literally no evidence of that other than his dick was out.
That is literally the only reason they said that. They did. There was nothing about his butt. There was nothing about anything like that.
They didn't talk about his butt. No.
I'm just saying.
No, I know. I get it. But they didn't say anything about that. There was literally no evidence of him being sexually assaulted. Just the cops went on record of being like, yeah, it's got to be a sex crime. His dick was out. He was outside and his dick was out.
Clearly, that's the only reason.
But so it's really strange because my thoughts on it were if potentially his stomach had ruptured long before his actual death, like if it was like a prolonged thing, if it was like a slow leak, sepsis can absolutely cause delusions and paranoia and stuff like that, because it's poisoning your blood essentially. So I almost wonder, was he being poisoned by his own body after, like, maybe there was an accident on the construction site that he didn't want to talk about. He's the foreman.
Construction A, that's the company.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Construction A. I'm so sorry to our Canadian listeners. So I mean, what if he was, like I said, he was the foreman on the site. So if he was doing something dicey and he got hurt himself and he didn't want to report that,
Okay.
but it was bad enough that it ruptured his stomach, he's going to start acting crazy because it's literally poisoning itself.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. If a crazy dude came running up to me in a parking lot and, like,
You guys would do the like sacred handshake.
I mean, if he has pants on, maybe. If he has pants on, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He'll get a handshake from me. If he
That's gonna be the other part of the title of this. If he has pants on.
if a crazy dude comes running up to me just dick whipping, I am not gonna be as like, hey bud, you want to shake my hand?
If he's like, hey, let's shake dicks and move on, what would you say?
That's going to be a hard pass.
Okay.
So,
Respect.
I mean, so if a crazy person runs up to me in a parking lot and
please continue. I'm listening.
And his
schlong,
his nuts and bolts are just bopping along, his shirt open, he's throwing cash, he's potentially wearing a fanny pack, which is a red flag. If I have a crowbar, I'm swinging. Well, that's my story.
You
Snake
did a
out
good
fanny
job.
pack.
You did a good job.
Thank you. I appreciate it a lot. I needed that today.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. I really appreciate it. I'm going to edit this when I'm sober. Thank you so much. We appreciate all 110 views, everyone that's listened. John Cena, you can't see me. That is Luigi. Thank God for the L, because I would have guessed wrong. We appreciate everyone for listening. I really do appreciate it.
My favorite part about that is anyone who's not watching this on YouTube has no idea if you just had a stroke or not.
Okay, so yeah, for anyone that's not seeing this on YouTube, Cody is in his bedroom, living room. I don't know your life.
I'm in the basement where I keep all my shit. You think I have those standing next to my bed?
Mary Sarah's got to peek around and she's like, yes, John Cena. I don't fucking know. I don't know her life.
I don't know what that means. Continue. I have a life-size cutout of John Cena behind me, and
potentially
that might be a life-size cutout of Luigi. I don't know his proportions if he was in real life.
Thank you so much for listening. This has been episode 3 of Dear Friends and Dead Ends. My name is Ashley. His name is
Cody.
Excellent. Such a great job. But we will see you guys. I would definitely recommend doing the $5 or $3 tiers of our Patreon. You are going to get those bonus episodes every Thursday for the $5 tiers. I promise I will drink just as much. It will be just as entertaining. All right. Thanks, guys.
If we do a live show with people, I'm getting hammered.
For sure. I would recommend the $10 tier. It is Dear Friends, or Dear Friend is the name. But we're going to do live. I'm sorry, I can't remember offhand. But we're going to do live Discord episodes, which means you can also interject with questions. You can ask us questions while we're just talking about whatever we're going to talk about. He's going to talk about the murders. I'm going to talk about the missing persons cases. But it'll be a really fun one-on-one, just a few of us just talking about random shit while we're intoxicated. Please donate to our podcast. We would love it. And honestly, we're just here to entertain. Right?
And inform.
That is the more important part.
No, it's not.
We are here to entertain and inform about different like murder cases, missing persons cases. Some of mine are probably a little bit more known than yours because you've surprised me 3 times out of 3 with your murder cases, and I'm actually very impressed. So definitely check out our Patreon. It's Dear Friends and Dead Ends. It may have podcasts attached to it, but I would definitely recommend.
All right, this is it. We're actually getting off now. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye.